Alright, welcome back. This is Total OS Today, Total Technology for Beginners and Beyond. I was trying to get this started earlier, but I was talking to one of my cousins in Long Island, New York, and the heat wave in Italy is still pretty bad. If you haven't caught the news, we have relatives there in Italy. My dad is there, and the Italians have called the heat wave Lucifer. That's how hot it is. Yeah, people trying to stay cool there in Rome by the fountains and eating lots of gelato, the terrific Italian soft ice cream. And did you know that the secret to gelato, on why gelato has a softer texture, smoother? One of my friends who serves it here in the summer, she says that one of the reasons, or the main reason why the gelato is soft, is because that they suck the air out of the gelato. Hello, Chip. How are you? Jello toss. Well, I prefer gelato, the true Italian gelato. Welcome, Chip. How are you? We'll go on to the main topic here soon. This was a last minute thing. Like I said, I wanted to start this an hour ago, but I was on a long distance call. So how are you, Chip? How's things going for this evening? Hope you can hear me okay. Dago ice cream is awesome. Huh. For sure. I got some background music playing. So let me go ahead and transition here. You guys can see what I'm doing. How's the background music? Is it okay? Thomas Reynolds. We can start now. I'll give it a few minutes. How's my mic? Okay, the background music okay? It's really soft, so soft music in the background. But yeah, Thomas, I was just saying I was on a long distance call. Audio's good. Okay, thanks, Chip. I have relatives in Long Island, and we were talking about our folks, our relatives. Background is peachy, cool. Peach gelato, there we go, Chip. Yeah. But no, we have relatives in Italy, and the heat wave, the Romans, the Italians have called Lucifer is really bad. And when I spoke to my dad last week, he came home on the train from Rome. And he says all he wanted to do was take a cold shower. So it's pretty bad over there. But yeah, as far as gelato goes, the secret to the softness in gelato is the air is sucked out of the ice cream, or whatever you want to call it. That's according to one of my friends here. She's got like a little gelato stand that she takes out to concerts here locally. And she said the reason why gelato has a different texture is less air. That's why when you buy like normal, like American ice cream in the States, and after you eat it, it's filling, or you feel bloated, it's because of the air. I never thought that air, or the lack of air in gelato, is the secret to the texture and softness of gelato. Now there's probably other things to it, but the lack of the sucking out of the air in Italian gelato gives it that texture. Well, there you go. Rose is in the house. Hello, Rose. How are you? Thomas just came in from watching the ISS, the International Space Station, fly over Texas. Cool. And I believe the station uses Linux, if I am not mistaken. Yeah. Nice. So you could actually see it with the naked eye, Thomas, or with the telescope. That is so cool. Ice cream. Yeah, Rose, gelato. I never thought I would find genuine gelato here in Ohio as when I had it in Italy, but it's here, Rose, my friend Janet. Yeah. She's been serving it up all summer to me. It's awesome. So the next time you wonder why is gelato so soft, the air is sucked out of it, Rose. That's the secret. Anyway, it's cool over here. It's about 73. So it's actually been kind of cool this time of year in Ohio. It's not what I expected. I wanted it to be a little bit warmer so I can go swimming, since summer would be over here in a couple weeks. But hey, I guess cool nights, good sleeping weather. Guess can't complain. So there we go. What's the weather like in Canada, Rose? Is it cool like here? I should have hooked up my webcam. I forgot. Oh well, not that critical. So tonight's topic, I thought I would tackle the so-called Google document, or the Google Manifesto, whatever you want to call it. Somewhat controversial. Not really sure why. Well, I guess I can guess. But I'll take a crack at it and give you my thoughts, my personal commentary. And you guys tell me what you think. Thomas, you grew up in the Dayton, Exnia area. I know Dayton. Exnia, I don't know Dayton. Yeah. I mean, I don't know Exnia. Moving to Texas. Okay. Oh, Xenia. Xenia. Okay. You have a gelato place in Ottawa. The people who own the place got their training in Italy. Aha. Nothing beats genuine training, Rose. Same as Ohio. So the weather is same as here. Okay. Yeah, here it's what is it, 73, so yeah. And it's supposed to get warmer during the week, just not as hot as Italy. No Lucifer heat wave over here. My goodness. 100 degrees almost every single day in Italy. I was watching a little news item. One of the Italian police officers has to tell tourists you cannot go swimming in the Trevi fountain. He was saying that tourists will try to be sneaky. When the police turn their head, they'll go for a dip, and then they turn back and say, and the cop says, he's waving his finger, Oh, that's well, hey, when it's 100 degrees, you're trying to stay cool, right? My goodness. I guess they already harvested the grapes for the wine early in the season because of the heat. Wow. And I guess this week there's some kind of holiday festival all week there in Italy, in Rome. My cousin was saying it's the, actually I forget what she said. But yeah, it starts tomorrow through the weekend. Anyway, 80 degrees here, that would be in Texas. Okay. All right. Well, for this time of year, I guess that's normal. I guess that's the year. It's about 70 something. So yeah, 80 for August sounds about right. So yeah. Alright, let's give it a few more minutes. If anybody else wants to jump on, share your thoughts. And we'll tackle something somewhat controversial, I guess. Google's ideological echo chamber. This was some kind of internal memo, and that was released, leaked, or whatever. And the gentleman no longer is associated with Google. He was, shall I do my Schwarzenegger? He was terminated from Google. 80 degrees is almost a cold front, Thomas? Okay. Alright, if you say so. Alright, one more minute, then we'll get started. So, I didn't mean to start this late, but hey, hope it's not too late. Actually, in Texas, you are, is it 9 o'clock? 9:21 there in Texas, Thomas? Something like that? Never been to Texas. Oh, even though I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, never been there. Not yet. I think I had a layover there in Big D once. It's been a while. I like this background music. Da, 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 da. You tried dual boot Linux on Wintel last week and crashed big time. Oh my. Thomas, which distribution? Which Linux did you try? Ubuntu based, Thomas, the automatic installer usually works pretty good. I don't ever recall, at least in the last few years, or maybe ever, recalling the installer crashed. Sometimes if you mess up custom partitioning, it'll crash. But yeah, I don't recall ever crashing on me. 1404? Okay. Did you do custom partitioning, Thomas, or automatic installer? Usually for beginners, I would stick with the automatic installer to avoid any issues. But I'm sorry to hear that. But it is running now. Just got back up and running. Okay, all right. All right, I guess we can get started. So this was the memo dated from July. This was, I guess, released or leaked last week or 2 weeks ago from the gentleman who is no longer with Google. I guess now they're going to battle it out on the courts or something. I'm not really sure. Custom partitioning. All right, Thomas. Yeah, sometimes you need to watch. You probably, I'm guessing you missed a step or did something wrong, if I had to guess. But let's move on to this. So again, this is 9 pages. I won't go through all of this. You guys, and of course Rose, feel free to jump in. But I'll go through this as quickly as I can. I don't want to drag this out, but it's somewhat controversial. I've never done this before, but I'll give it a shot. Okay, so like I said, about 9 pages. So he goes on to say that he values diversity and inclusion, and not denying that sexism exists, and don't endorse using stereotypes. Fair enough. Let's go here. He talks about psychological safety is built on mutual respect and acceptance, but unfortunately our culture of shaming and misrepresentation is disrespectful and unaccepting anyone outside its echo chamber. Despite what the public response seems to have been, I've gotten many personal messages from fellow Googlers expressing their gratitude. Okay, very good. I guess I should say this before I start this. I like using Google products, Google Chrome, tablets, you know, of course, my Android phone, Google Play Store, so I have nothing against Google personally. This is just a personal commentary open for discussion and maybe debate, but I'll leave it up to you guys. So I want to get that out of the way. Okay, so Google's political bias has equated the freedom from offense with psychological safety, but shaming it to silence is the antithesis of psychological safety. Now, I have no way of proving this or debunking this either way. I'm just going by what I see. Yes, Rose, Brian Lunduke did. I caught it briefly. He did cover this topic. I think he said he agreed with some of it, or not all of it, or some. I can't remember. Anyway, it says here, this silencing has created an ideological echo chamber where some ideas are too sacred to be honestly discussed. Interesting. Let's see here. Let's move down here. All right. People generally have good intentions, but we all have biases which are invisible to us. That's probably true. Thankfully, open and honest discussion with those who disagree can highlight our blind spots and help us grow, which is why I wrote this document. All right, I guess that was courageous of him. Haddock is in the house. What's up? Hello, Haddock. I started this not too long ago. Tonight's topic is an open discussion, debate about Google's so-called manifesto, the leaked document. I think it was leaked from last month, about the gentleman talking about so-called Google biases. Again, I have no way to prove or debunk this either way. And in the interest of full disclosure, you know, I enjoy using Google products. Google Chrome works fine. Of course, my phone, tablets, you know, Google Docs works great. Google Drive, and the list goes on. So as far as me and Google are concerned, as a consumer, I'm cool with Google. I just want to get that out of the way. This is strictly my personal commentary, opened up for debate if you people want to chime in. Okay, so that's what we got, Haddock. So, let's see. Okay, so Google's biases, according to this gentleman. At Google, we talk so much about unconscious bias as it applies to race and gender. but we rarely discuss our moral biases. Political orientation is actually a result of deep moral preferences and thus biases. Considering that the overwhelming majority of the social sciences, media, and Google lean left, I don't know about that. We should critically examine these prejudices. I will tell you this. As a kid, a young kid, growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I saw the good and the bad in people. A lot of bad back in the 70s. I hate to say that. And ultimately, it was my upbringing by my parents who knew what was right and wrong that molded me into the person that I am today. So, for the most part, what the parents are is what the children will become. So I think this person should have mentioned it here if we're going to talk about, you know, prejudices and social sciences and all that. So it isn't just by what we see, but how we were raised. Strictly my opinion. But that's the person I am today is partly because of me, of course, choosing what's right and wrong. You know, sticking around with friends that have the same ideas, humor, and so on as myself. I consider you guys my friends here on YouTube. But as a kid growing up, it can be tough. So, but again, that's my thought on that. Tom should have a chat with Tom on Google. yeah. I just had a joke. Maybe Tom should go to Rome to cool down because he's really on fire here. Let's see. Google thingies lower than you. Stop running away from it. Yeah, Haddock. I debated about this. I think I'm a grown-up boy that I can talk about this and you guys can chime in. So, anyway, let's move on. So it says here Google leans left. I guess they do. I don't know. Prejudices. Mom is always right, Thomas. Haha. Okay, so he has this split to left biases and right biases. Left wing, right wing, I'm assuming. So according to left wing biases, compassion for the weak. Shouldn't we all feel that way? Compassion for the weak, to help someone who needs help? Is that really left or right, or is that just human? To me, that's more human than being left or right. Disparities are due to injustice. That's probably true, no matter who you are. Humans are inherently cooperative. Isn't that true for all, left or right? Respect for the strong authority. Well, I respected my parents. Again, is this left or right? Disparities are natural and just. I don't know about that one. I think both the left and the right might have a problem with that. Humans are inherently competitive. Sure, look at sports. So you could really, to me, you could interchange these left and right. I mean, depending on the person. But you know, I think for the most part, yeah, humans are generally morally conscious of what's right or wrong. All right, so Thomas says you use Google for email and searches. You are a liberal, current conservative. Okay. I'm not sure how I would describe myself. I went to Catholic school. I guess I'm fiscally conservative. And maybe social, semi-conservative, liberal. I don't know. I don't like to put people in boxes like that, but that's just who I am. You know, it's people are people. Humans are generally, look, no one is born evil, right? The stuff that was happening here in Virginia, you know, no one is born evil. They're taught that way, or they're shown stuff that way. So we're all born, you know, babies of the world. So anyway, not to get too philosophical, sorry. Okay, so continuing left and right, according to the left bias, change is good or unstable. I'm not sure about that. Open and idealist, and according to the right, change is dangerous. Yes, if you're changing lanes on the highway while texting, that is dangerous. And I guess the right biases are closed-minded and pragmatic. Again, you can really interchange this left and right back and forth. Strictly my opinion, Again, feel free for you guys and Rose to chime in. But anyway, let's see here. I only use Google for YouTube. That's all I want to use it for, and everything else I could care less about. Google's an advertising company, which means to me that the privacy policy is bad, bad, bad. Okay, all right. Doomed Josh. Josh, I hope you are not doomed. Welcome to the live event. Is this your first time on a live event? I don't recall. If it is, welcome. Good evening. Yes. Rose, you are a small L libertarian, and Jim should have not been fired by Google for thoughts. Rose, I would, based on what I've seen, I would have to agree. This was an internal memo. Yeah, I believe that the fired engine will be suing Google. Good chance of winning. From, I believe I read that somewhere, Rose. I believe that is true. I don't think he should have been fired. This is strictly his opinion. I didn't see anything really, far out left or right or whatever you want to people call it, alt-right or off-left. I mean, this is so ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think he should have been. I think if anything, have a private meeting with the boss and then move on from there. But that's how I see this, Rose. Chip, you use Chrome daily for everything, email to Facebook gaming. Been using Chrome for many years and they've never had. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so this guy has an opinion. Does that really matter much that he needs to be fired? Haddock, I don't know. I guess the powers that be said he needed to go. And I didn't really find this document so offensive to say, dude, you are going to be terminated. I may not agree with everything, but that's what it means to be human. Sometimes we say yes, sometimes we say no. Sometimes you want to think about things. Sometimes you want to try things. Anyway, leaking a private internal document is definitely ground, but I don't know who leaked it. See, was it him or somebody else? I don't know. Even if he did, again, there's nothing here that's really, what's the word? Incendiary. Strictly my opinion. If he did leak it, should he have done it? Probably not. But it's not like, look, this is not going to change my feelings about Google. I'm still going to use Google products. All right, well, let's move on. Anyway, welcome to the chat, to the live event. Thanks for stopping by. So, all right, so again, this left and right bias thing, I don't know. This can be interchangeable. Compassion for the weak. That's, I think, is most good people feel that way. Disparities are due to injustices. Humans are inherently cooperative. Is that just left? I don't think so. Let's move on. He does say that neither side is 100% correct, and both viewpoints are necessary for a functioning society, or in this case, a company. All right, a company too far to the right may be slow to react, overly hierarchical, and untrusting of others. I don't know. It seems to be this could be left or right. It can happen depending on the personnel of how they think. Okay, only facts and reason can shed light on these biases. That's true. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, Google's left bias has created a politically correct monoculture that maintains its hold by shaming dissenters into silence. Again, I have no way of proving that either way. All right, so for the rest of this document, he wants to focus on differences. Okay. Possible non-biased causes of the gender gap in tech. Okay. On average, men and women biologically differ in many ways. Really? That is shocking. Okay. All right. I won't go there. Hello, Spin Viking. Where was we? Okay. These differences aren't just socially constructed because they're universal across human cultures. They often have clear biological causes and links to prenatal testosterone. Biological males that were castrated at birth and raised as females often still identify. Well, now we're going sidetrack into the medical thing here, so I really cannot comment on that. Let's move on. some kind of chart here, personality differences. Let's move on. Let's see. Openness directed towards feelings and aesthetics rather than ideas. Women generally also have a stronger interest in people rather than things relative to men. Huh. Rose, let me ask you, what do you say about this? Women generally also have a stronger interest in people rather than, I don't know, maybe I have some feminism in me. I prefer people versus things. Just me, that's just me talking. So, all right, well, these two differences in part explain why women relatively prefer jobs in social or artistic areas. Again, what's the percentage ratio here? More men may like coding because it requires systemizing, and even within SWEs, comparatively more women work on front end. Again, I don't know what to say about this. Extroversion expressed as gregariousness rather than assertiveness, also higher agreeableness. You agree with that statement? Okay, fair enough, Rose. This leads to women generally having a harder time negotiating salary, asking for raises, speaking up, and leading. I would say that varies, strictly my opinion. Note these are just average differences, and there's overlap between men and women, but this is seen solely as a women's issue. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. Neuroticism. I guess according to this, women have higher anxiety and lower stress tolerance. Wouldn't that depend on how that girl was raised, Rose? Seems to me this neuroticism, anxiety, and stress can go either way. I remember one time going to the doctor for a checkup. And the nurse took my blood pressure, Rose. She says, boy, that's really low. Let me check it again just to be sure. And sure enough, I don't remember what it was. It was low. And I guess this nurse at the clinic, whatever, didn't come across too many people with lower blood pressure. And I said, well, nurse, I don't believe in stress. So this thing with anxiety and stress, this can be interchangeable between men and women. In my opinion. So if leaking, on the other hand, they didn't want it to get out, then maybe you deserve it. That I'd understand, unless it shows a major flaw that could put the privacy security of customers. Yeah, I didn't see anything here that is a security issue. At least I don't think so. Women are more cooperative and people oriented. All right, fair enough. Okay, let's see here. Let's move on here. Men's higher drive for status. We always ask why we don't see women in top leadership positions. But we never ask why we see so many men in these jobs. Suppose that's fair? These positions often require long, stressful hours that may not be worth it if you want a balanced and fulfilling life. I think probably most humans, or most people with families, or not, but I would say if you have kids, you're looking for that balanced, as this says, balanced and fulfilling life, to make life more enjoyable. But this is, again, this I think is true for both men and women. Anyway, let's move on here. Status is the primary metric that men are judged on, pushing many men into these higher paying, less satisfying jobs with the status they entail. Note the same forces that lead men into high paying stress jobs in tech and leadership can cause men to take undesirable and dangerous jobs like coal mining, garbage collection. Okay, all right. It says, I guess as a statistic, they suffer 93% of work-related deaths. I guess that's a point there. Non-discriminatory ways to reduce the gender gap. Some of the differences in distribution of traits between men and women that I outlined in the previous section suggest ways to address them to increase women's representation. Women on average show a higher interest in people and men in things. Okay? All right. We can make software engineering more people-oriented with pair programming and more collaboration. Sounds good to me. Women on average are more cooperative. Interesting. Let's see. This doesn't mean that we should remove all competitiveness from Google. Competitiveness and self-reliance can be valuable traits, and we shouldn't necessarily disadvantage those that have them. Okay, sounds good. How many men work as teachers and nurses? I have a few friends, but probably the majority of nurses. Don't know about teachers' rows. I would say are probably women, but I think more men, or more, yeah, I think more males are going into the medical field as nurses. When I took my mom for a checkup last month, there was a male nurse there. To me, it was not unusual. But of course, I had my mom on my mind that day at the hospital. But yeah, just an observation. Make tech and leadership less stressful. Okay. Google already partly does this with its many stress reduction courses and benefits. Well, that's good. Josh says, well, that's discouraging. I'm a garbage collection joint. I don't plan on being there. Yeah, Josh, unless you are careless and have an accident. But it seems to me an accident would be twisting your back. I don't know. Chip, women on average are more what? Someone hasn't met your wife. Oh, my. C says we have more male teachers in the school district. Yeah, there's probably more male teachers than there are male nurses, if I had to guess. Oh, let's see. Let's move on. Let's see. Women on average look for more work-life balance. I would say that's especially true when they have kids. When women give birth, yeah, that's definitely true in my opinion. Let's see. Let me see if I can go through this a little bit faster. The harm of Google's biases. He says, I strongly believe in gender and racial diversity, and I think we should strive for more. However, to achieve a more equal gender and race representation, Google has created several discriminatory practices. Oh, programs, mentoring, and classes only for people with a certain gender or race. Again, I have no way of proving this either way. A high priority queue and special treatment for diversity candidates. Hiring practices which can effectively lower the bar for diversity candidates. Reconsidering any set of people if it's not diverse enough. Yeah, see this here. Again, I have no way of proving this either way. Let's move on. Why we're blind. We all have biases and use motivated reasoning to dismiss ideas that run counter to our internal values. That's probably partially true. Just as some on the right deny science. That is one broad general statement there that runs counter to the God, humans, environment. Thankfully, climate scientists and evolutionary biologists generally aren't on the right. Again, I'm not going to go there. In addition to the left's affinity for those it sees as weak. Again, I don't understand that either. Humans are generally biased towards protecting females. Well, I mean, if you're married and you have a wife, don't you want to protect her and love her and all that? So I think that's a good bias. As mentioned before, this likely evolved because males are biologically disposable. Because women are generally more cooperative and agreeable than men. Wow. All right. Okay. Let's. There's some footnotes here about communism and IQ test. I won't go there. 67% of teachers are females in this school. In your school, okay. Elementary or arts, gender-based courses. And when you grew up, most were female, not male, but male teachers seem to be more math and science. Okay. All right, let's move on here. We're getting down to the end of this. The same compassion for those seen as weak creates political correctness, which constrains discourse. That's probably true. Let's see. Suggestions. I hope it's clear that I'm not saying that diversity is bad, that Google or society is 100% fair, that we shouldn't try to correct for existing biases, or the minorities have the same experience of those in the majority. My larger point is that we have an intolerance for ideas and evidence that doesn't fit a certain ideology. Wouldn't that be partly to how you were raised, your morals, personal thoughts, feelings? Are you having a good day, a bad day? I don't know. I think he's just describing here what it means to be human. So he has suggestions. Demoralize diversity. Demoralize diversity. As soon as we start to moralize an issue, we stop thinking about it in terms of costs and benefits. Interesting perspective. Dismiss anyone that disagrees as immoral, and harshly punish those we see as villains to protect the victims. Stop alienating conservatives. I have plenty of friends who are conservatives. I don't alienate them. Anyway, viewpoint diversity is arguably the most important type of diversity in political orientation. All right. In highly progressive environments, conservatives are a minority that feel like they need to stay in the closet to avoid open hostility. Interesting. We should empower those with different ideologies to be able to express themselves. Absolutely. Alienating conservatives is both non-inclusive, generally bad business, because conservatives tend to be higher in consciousness. Okay. Which is required for much of the drudgery and maintenance work characteristic of a mature. Conservatives tend to be higher in consciousness. I have no idea why he's going there. Confront Google's biases. Anyway. Have an open and honest discussion about the cost and benefits of our diversity programs. Fair enough. Focus on psychological safety, not just race, gender, diversity. Fair enough. De-emphasize empathy. Don't know about that one. While I strongly support trying to understand how and why people think the way they do, relying on effective empathy, feeling another's pain, causes us to focus on anecdotes, favor individuals similar to us, and harbor other irrational and dangerous biases. Being emotionally unengaged helps us better reason about the facts. We're humans. You take away our feelings and our emotions, we're nothing. I think there has to be a balance, between emotion and facts, or not being overly emotional. So I don't agree entirely here. Prioritize intention. Our focus on microaggressions and other unintentional transgressions increase our sensitivity, which is not universally positive. All right, okay. Be open about the science of human nature. Yeah, I would say that's fair. We haven't been able to measure any effect of our unconscious bias training. Okay, and let's see, talks about training, some other stuff here. Spend more time on the many other types of biases. Stereotypes are much more accurate and responsive to new information. Don't know about that. Anyway, that's the end of the document. So I have I have mixed feelings about this. Again, there was nothing here that's overly insensitive or stuff like that. So, obviously, if he personally leaked it, then he shouldn't have done it. Putting that aside, I don't agree with everything here, but this is just an opinion that's open for discussion. And even though I don't agree with everything here, I did not personally take offense to what he had to say. That's just my thoughts. It doesn't change my use of Google products. But should he have been let go? Probably not. All things considered, probably not. But we'll see how far this story goes. If it winds up in the courts, I don't know. But it should be interesting. Oh, let's see here. The facts. That is very substantial to person's leanings. Interesting. Okay, certainly wasn't in the 80s. It's getting late. Okay, Haddock. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by, Haddock. Yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock here. Cool. Thank you for stopping by. I'm probably going to end this soon. But that's my thought about this controversial memo. I hope I was as fair as I can be. But once again, I personally did not take offense to this, either left or right wing. But he had something to say and he said it. But yeah, I guess we'll see how far this goes in the courts if it goes that way. But that's my thought about this so-called, what's been deemed a manifesto. Ironically, his name, D'amore, in Italian, if you say d'amore, it means of love, or for love, or from love, or something like that. But well, he's gone from Google, so I guess he didn't receive that much love, did he? He's been terminated. Blah. No, Schwarzenegger's going to make another Terminator movie, speaking of that, next year. Anyway. Yeah, Rose, there was nothing really offensive about it. It was just his opinion. I can certainly see why some people wouldn't agree with this. But if someone at Google took offense to this, yeah, it needs to lighten up, in my opinion. But we'll see how far this goes in the courts. Anyway, that's my thought on the Google, I should call it the Google document, right? Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up in a few minutes. Any final thoughts? Post them now. And I'll say goodnight here shortly. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at Brian Lunduke, what he had to say, but I noticed he's been putting out a lot of different topic videos. Let's see. You're betting that Google was already considering letting him go. Ah, interesting. It could be. And linking this was the final nail in the coffin. He probably released it hoping for a big lawsuit payday. Interesting. So if that was his reasoning, is that left wing or right wing thinking? I don't know. Or does it matter? Alright, Chip. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. James will win big. Any bets? If I don't, I'm not a gambler, Rose. If I had to bet, I'll bet on D'amore. I think he's going to probably receive some love from the courts. If I had to guess, I don't know. You know, the political aspect might be the most perceived inflammatory point. Doom Josh, yeah, that was the one thing I got not stuck on, but probably commented the most. Rose, you need to go. Okay, thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you next time. But Josh, yeah, the political aspect, look, those points that I raised, that can go either way. That really, to put that kind of political stuff, that really wasn't necessary in my opinion. Josh, I mean, you know, people, I think, look, are inherently good. You know, we're all born not knowing evil, and you know, we're raised how we are depending on what our lives are exposed to. It has nothing to do with left or right wing. That's strictly my opinion. But the political stuff, I probably would have left it out. Yeah. Spin Viking says, on my last install Linux Lite, I switched Dinar for Dolphin, but lost the wallpaper. Yeah, when you start doing those kind of customizations, you may run into problem. But you can re-download the wallpaper. Spin should not be a problem, I think. But I don't think I've ever switched file managers. Yeah, usually I just go with the default one, and I'm cool with that, Spin. But yeah. But I would just re-download the wallpaper. Now I have installed different desktop environments, and then I'll, you know, log out and log in. Josh, you agree completely? Okay, cool. Yeah, the political stuff was not necessary, in my opinion, because that can raise all kinds. What's the term? Open up a can of worms. Maybe that was not his intention. But if I was going to write or have a commentary like that, I would leave out the political stuff. It's just not needed. Hi, Oscar. Yeah, I'm just about to wrap this up here soon. You can go back and replay it. we were talking about the the core of this conversation was about Google's so-called leaked manifesto. Giving my personal thoughts and opinion. Somewhat controversial. Well, I guess it is. I tackled it as best I could. Did not agree with everything in it, but I did not take offense to what was being stated in his personal observations of that gentleman who was terminated from Google. Anyway, but yeah, just go ahead and play it back. Some of these live events, I transcode them into a podcast, into an MP3 format, and then upload it to my Patreon page. That way you could just download it and play it in the car or whatever. Those of you who would like to support the channel, you know, for as little as $1 a month. But if you want to, you can just play this back. But that was the core of the conversation. We started off the conversation with gelato, Osprey. And the secret to why gelato is soft? You'll have to play this live event back and find out. You might be surprised. Yeah. You're welcome, Oscar. Yeah. All right, just a couple more minutes and I'm done. Wrap it up for this evening. I did install, I think I mentioned it last time, I did install the latest Ubuntu Mate, the Alpha 2 1710 in my Toshiba test machine, a full install. And a few minor crashes here and there. Obviously it's an alpha, but I'm really impressed how well it runs. So kudos to the team, really to Martin Wimpress, the developer of Ubuntu Mate. It may turn out to be, Ubuntu Mate may turn out to be this year, the Total OS Today Linux distribution of the year. Ubuntu Mate, at least for beginners. Yeah. So I still like Linux Mint. I have a Kubuntu desktop installed with this, the desktop environment. I have Kubuntu as my backup on my backup computer. I don't use it as much as this, but you know, Ubuntu Mate, well done, really nice, and some of the tweaks in it, the updated features and tweaks, very nice, excellent. Yeah, Wimpy's the man. I agree, see. If you guys haven't, take a look at my interview that I did with him. Well, I guess it was 2 years ago. Before Ubuntu Mate became famous, as it were. And, you know, I asked him why he created Ubuntu Mate. And I called it the Romantic OS. I won't spoil it, but just search my channel for the Martin Wimpress interview. He is a fine chap. Should I go for wallpaper down? Yeah, Spin, just go ahead and search wallpapers, download them. God, there's so many choices. Yeah, go to the, just search, you know, Ubuntu wallpapers or, yeah, Linux wallpapers, free wallpaper, stuff like that. There's tons of websites there. I'm sure you'll find something. Great distro, ran it for almost 2 years before coming back to Mint. Okay. Very good. All right, Thomas, have a good one. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I like Linux, Mint, Ubuntu Mate. Kubuntu is my backup because it looks different. No longer have Ubuntu Unity, so it's not going to be supported anymore. I don't think I'll be switching to GNOME, at least not in the near future. There's too many tweaks to be done, extensions, and they can break and it just ruins everything. But you know, maybe that may change in the future. I don't know. I don't know. Fidel Arnold is in the house. Hello, Fidel. You're catching this towards the end. Sorry about that, but you can play this back. I gave my thoughts on the so-called Google Manifesto, the document that was leaked and all that. Then switch file managers. I don't know, Spin. I mean, if it was me, what I did, if you like more or a different file manager, I install Linux Mint as my daily driver with its default file manager, and then I installed the Kubuntu desktop desktop environment with the Dolphin file manager. But that's something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. Personally, I would not mess with the default file manager of that specific Linux distribution to avoid issues, if it was me. But you know, yeah, I do like different file managers in general. I think Dolphin's great. But every once in a while, I'll go to my backup desktop and do some stuff on there. But generally speaking, I would stick with the default file manager in that Linux distro to avoid issues. That's strictly my opinion. Yeah. Do you have a favorite file manager? By the way, I've been playing from the YouTube audio library, Silent Partner. So check out the YouTube audio library. So, all right. Last minute, last call for alcohol, and then I am done. I guess I should have had my own. What does Tom do on Switch to Linux? He goes up in flames. He has that flaming special effect. I should have had the Total OS today flaming toss, and say this manifesto is outrageous and start screaming. But that's not me. I can't do that. Yeah. Yeah. Shatir, hello. Thunar, learn Thunar. Oh, Thunar is okay. Kaja and Nemo both are very close to Dolphin in terms of functionality. I think they all work fine, Josh. Yeah, I mean, Dolphin has the extra, you know, features to it. But anyway, all right, Spin Viking. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night. I hope I was helpful. But yeah, stick with the default file manager in that specific distribution. William is in the house, giving me some fire. Ah, my. Yeah, Tom from Switch to Linux when he goes. You know, he was doing a live event one night. He had to stop because I guess his neighbor was banging on the wall to shut up or calm down. Josh, you're stuck on Silent Partner. Believer, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Doom. Yeah, it's the YouTube audio library. I think all of it's free as far as I know. Some of that you may have to, you know, give credit to the artist, and I'm assuming they work on donations or whatever. But yeah, Silent Partner is awesome. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. That and the 126ers, I think they call themselves, and Audionautics. Yeah. So yeah, Josh. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is great stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what time is it? It's after 11. Got a long day tomorrow. Help my cousin. Let's see. I know. Yeah. See, so this would have been a good time to have Compass set to use the burn effect when closing an application for that document. I know. Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking that way. I wanted to be fair to the author of the document and not have a flame war. Ha ha ha. But that would have been appropriate, see. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, I hope I was fair in my response to that document. I think I was. But yeah, that flame effect would have been cool. Absolutely. Let's burn this sucker up. Nah. I did not take offense to the document, but just as a gag, sure, it would have been cool. Absolutely. Yeah. I wonder how Switch to Linux does this special effect. I wonder how he sets it up. Maybe with Compass. I don't know. Of course, Compass isn't entirely stable sometimes, so yeah. The burn effect. Yeah, maybe next time. You know. I guess the next time I talk about the heat wave in Rome, Lucifer's heat wave, have the burn effect. Dos en fuego, and fire. Yeah, really. Yeah. No burn effect tonight. Sorry. Okay, guys, I'm done. Good night, Josh. Everybody, thank you for stopping by and joining in and sharing your views on that somewhat controversial document. I think conversations like this and your feedback, intelligent adult feedback, is probably the best way to handle documents or news like that and not take it personal. As long as the document or the item in question is not so outrageous where you get a little bit mad. But something like a discussion like this, where we have an open discussion, that's the best way to tackle the so-called Google Manifesto. That's been your regular setting compass. Haven't taken the time to set it up again since the cheap SSD drive. Yeah, I guess SSD drives are hit and miss. That's why I don't have one yet. See, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I'll turn compass on or off here in Linux Mint. But, it's cool special effects. Just not something I use all the time. I'm scared it might crash the desktop. So, alright guys, that's all I have. Don't know what the next topic will be. Probably not anything controversial. Although this live event wasn't too bad. I did download, what did I download? Green Recorder. I'll probably test that sometime this week. Seems like it's very lightweight and user newbie friendly. Maybe take a look at a couple apps for Windows, for my Windows fans here on the channel. But for this one, that's all I have for this. For those of you who joined in late, just play it back. For any new people to the channel, this is Total OS Today, Total Technology for beginners and beyond. If you haven't already, subscribe and consider supporting the channel through Patreon. The link is below in the show notes. Some of the perks of being a subscriber is some audio downloads of these live events, and you support the channel at the same time. So thank you. That's it. Have a good night, have a good week, and I'll catch you on the next burning live event. Good night.